Hi everybody, welcome back to another discussion with my dad, Dr. Ian Dunbar, about his book, Barking Up the Right Tree. Today, I've got a very important question for you, which I think really goes to the heart of dog training. My question is, how do you motivate a dog so they want to do what you want them to do?
Oh, I mean, this is the glory of the book. I mean, how many chapters did I spend on that? Well, one obvious thing, use more powerful rewards.
Okay, more
Yeah.
powerful than what?
Well, most people are using a food reward, and most people are feeding much too much food. And so what they're doing is making the food reward lose value. The dogs are taking it for granted because they know, well, I'll get a food reward eventually. And so first they slow down and then they stop.
So more powerful food reward, clearly that means a tastier food, right?
No,
No, it's not a hot dog?
no,
Hot dog wrapped in bacon.
no.
Hot dog wrapped in bacon, Captain Cheese.
No, obviously you're not a dog trainer, else you would have mentioned the...
Dried fish.
You've got it.
Dried
The
fish.
ultimate. Yeah, you can always tell a briber because they smell like dried fish. No, that as soon as you start to look for a tastier treat, which matters nothing to the dog, or a smellier treat that matters everything to the dog, everyone knows you aren't using food lures or food rewards correctly. You're now using food as a bribe. And so don't go that route. What you want to do is to become more discerning with the food you give as rewards. That means you've already phased out food as a lure and even got the food off your person. So I like to have in class a training table. So everyone puts their bait bags on the table. So they work naked, as I call it. No food in your hand, no food on your person.
But wearing clothes.
Yes, wearing clothes.
Okay. Although, if you're trying to pitch TV ideas, I think,
well,
dog training naked and afraid.
I've got one. That's, you see, the Aussies came up with the term. They're now naked dog training, mate. But what'd be really good if they were dressed in like desert boots and they truly were naked. And they were good-looking bonza blokes, man. That could be one of the most watched programs out there. Yeah.
I think it could.
And
so you have a training table or a treat table, yeah.
And
treat
so
table.
When the dog does something right, so now we don't have food in our hand because the dog knows hand signals. So we don't need the food, it's a hand signal, a hand lure. And now we don't need the hand lure because the dog understands verbal commands because we're lure reward training. And the number one goal of lure reward training is to teach dogs ESL, to understand the commands we give so you don't need food or signals anymore. Okay? We keep signals for stuff in company. You know, I can do this to the dog, means shush, or this while I'm talking to you, so the dog can understand my hands. So we're using food as a reward. One tip, count out the number of food rewards before you train. Then you would distribute them more judiciously. Not just when the dog sits, but how quickly did he sit? How long did he remain sitting? You will now be rewarding the dog for better and better quality, longer duration, more stylish sits, because you counted them out. So you can, and I'll spoiler alert here, reward at random is one of the highest powered reinforcement schedules there is, but be discerning each time. So right before you give it, ask the question, is it really worth a food reward? And that slight thinking about it is what increases the anticipation in the dogs, which increases dopamine, boom, in the brain, and reinforces what's going on here so much. This is when the connections are made by not just good dog treat, it's good dog, nah, I don't know, nah, next time, put it in your pocket. People say, that's cruel, you're teasing the dog. Absolutely, why?
Pardon me, I've got a little cough.
That's
put a
okay.
lozenge in.
You want mine? Before you die on me.
I've got water.
I am a veterinarian, you're safe. By teasing the dog with the food reward, if you like, it substantially increases the value of the reward. And that's what, and it makes it's reinforcing power that's really amped up there. But that, just being discerning using food rewards and being discerning about them, it's just the tip of the iceberg. of motivation.
Mm-hmm. So it seems obvious that the more you give of something, the less valuable each individual one is. So that's one of the things you're talking about with fewer food rewards. Oh, man. Had a little tickle in my throat for the past couple weeks.
Honey. The secret is honey. The honey bear.
I've had so much honey.
Oh.
Had lots of little sips of whiskey.
Oh.
And I've gargled with a lot of salt water the past couple days. So, using food more intelligently can motivate your dog.
Yeah.
Using less food, incorporating some randomness around the food. I think that goes to...
Yes.
I think that goes to... A lot of people are probably already familiar with this concept of you should be less like a vending machine and more like a slot machine. And the motivation that comes with not knowing whether you're going to get a reward after you do your input.
You've got it. So food, the nature of the reward is one thing. We'll get back to that because that's huge. But so is the schedule when we give it, how much we give, how often. And so we have all of these what's called reinforcement schedules. Now, all I'll say about them is most are lame and don't work very well. So why are we even talking about them? So I won't anymore.
Okay.
But a couple are good, and you hit the nail on the head, the variable schedules. When the dog can't predict when it's going to be rewarded, the reinforcing power increases. As you said, be a slot machine, not a food vending machine, or even be a video machine, not a slot machine.
A video game, yeah.
These are really sophisticated reward schedules, but they have two massive drawbacks. One, no one can compute them. I always do a demo where I will compute one and give you 10 random numbers that average out at, say, 5. So we now rewarding the dog on average every 5th response or every 5 seconds, but each duration or interval is different, okay? But most people can't do that. I can, but what I couldn't do is train a dog at the same time.
Right.
I'd really have to concentrate.
Not very useful.
So number one, we can't calculate them. We can't even follow them, even if you pre-computed them and try to adhere to it in training. The next drawback is huge, and it's the same for every schedule we've talked about but one. Okay? No, every one, even random. They all reinforce just as many below median quality behaviors as above. Because they're coming according to a set criteria, a schedule, or at random, we're not paying attention to the quality of the dog's behavior, so the quality of the behavior will never get better, which is altogether dumb.
Yeah.
So that's where I came up with the ultimate reinforcement schedule, which is being consistent. Reward at random, which I think is so funny, because every dog trainer says you've got to be consistent. Why? Because you must be consistent if you're using punishment, or aversive punishment, I should say. Because you can be a little inconsistent with non-aversive punishment, won't work as well, but then you won't do the damage you would do by being inconsistent with aversive punishment. So be totally inconsistent, reward at random, count them out beforehand, so that now sets your ratio, how many food reward per minute or per response, if you like. But at the last moment, be that judge on America's Got Talent.
Right.
Who can think, I'm going to reward, I'm going to hit this bell, I'm going to hit the golden button, or I'm not.
Right.
And it's that deliberation now. You're building the anticipation, which really sends the power of the reward, like to the moon.
Yeah.
And so it's okay to, put your hand in your pocket and stop and watch the dog. He's like, his attention is so intense now. Right. And then you can say that's not worth the reward. That was brilliant. You know what? Let's go to the reward table and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what have you chained there and what have you reinforced? Well, we were over here when that dog did a brilliant recall in the dog park. He was being humped in a pile of 6 dogs. You said, come, and he comes flying at you. And you said, wow, I'm going to give you, come on, let's go to the reward table. What does he do then? He walks by your side and sits at the reward table and remains in a sit stay while you count out 6 rewards. So you rewarded that whole sequence. Brilliant recall, nice healing, sit stay. And so when we bring the reward table in, we're reinforcing a lot of responses going to the table and going round dogs to get there and stuff.
Yeah.
And you just end up with a dog that's really reliable off leash.
And the nice thing about this reward schedule is it's very doable. That, like, what you're saying about the more complicated, mathematically oriented reward schedules are so challenging for people to do, but people can be inconsistent, and people can also make snap quality judgments. And they can factor in all sorts of, different components to come up with yes reward or no reward. And it's, a child can do that. It's like, tell the child, give the dog these 10 treats, give them the treats when they do something you like. It's like, well, that's all you need to say.
And
it's very clear.
Yeah, I mean, you've really come up with the power here that I think in the book I call it randomly reinforce the ineffable. And this is the je ne sais quoi about a behavior, its essence, where essentially I use AGT, America's Got Talent as an example, that you're watching a performance and you just go, wow, wow. And as yet, a computer can't do that as quickly as we can, taking a million pieces, billions of pieces of experiential input over our lifetimes and reducing it to a yes or no decision.
I don't know, Dad. That might not be true by the time this gets posted.
Yeah, it's happening that
It's changing pretty quickly. All right.
I don't think it will. I think we'll come so close, but it's all based on deep learning, you see? And whereas our deep learning also comes with feeling, and because we're human, there's always more deep learning to do. Like, I never knew some things I valued so much and made me smile so much until I got older. As I get older, different things now are bringing joy. And whether the computer can do that growth artificially,
Yeah. Well, the discussion about what AI is capable of is for another day.
Yes.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to get a copy of Barking Up the Right Tree, you can find it in your local bookstore or online. Thanks, Dad. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for watching this video. If you'd like to learn more about dog training and behavior, make sure you visit DunbarAcademy.com to check out our selection of courses, many of which are completely free. If you'd rather watch more of our videos here on YouTube, just click the links to the right. And if you want to follow us on social media, everything you need is directly below. As always, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to click the bell for notifications.